Okay. So the trades I'm gonna go over today, or why I'm still in Costco. So this is a clean chart. So I'm gonna start off with getting my levels as I usually do. But one of the main reasons why I got in Costco, I'll show you in a little bit. So there's a gap right there. It closed at 994.57. That was color coded blue, and then this was the high of the next day, which is 989.32. Okay, so now I know that there's a gap up there. I always want to see where the gaps are, but that's the only one I see so far. And let's add some levels off the wicks. The wicks are the most important levels to me. 935.68. Okay. So I'm gonna add these right here. I'll go back and adjust them. And I don't like to use the magnet. I'll just 973.50. This one is 958.30. Is it? What's the high? 958.30. Interesting. It looks like there's a little wick above. Anyways, so I got these levels. I also had this one, but it's not as important anymore. It still can be because these two overlap. Like this one's gonna be important as well. But usually I don't add those only when it's like a big move, kind of like I think it was Neo, but it's pretty close to a algo level, which is a 2.95. It's the low that is 953. It's a dollar away from 952. That's an algo. Algo 2s and 8s psychological levels are gonna be 0.5s for the most part. So, or I like to call those algos and psych levels. I don't know if other people call them differently. And I'm gonna mark this low because this is the most recent like big low that we've had before we went up, and this high as well. So this high is 999.30. The low here 923.72. Oh. Okay. Gonna mark. This was an important level. It still is, so I'm gonna leave that one. But it's really it's really near that algo, which is that 2. But we're gonna leave it 94266. Okay. Also, so now I got my levels that of the wick on the daily. Now I want to do more TA. So I'm noticing that it rejected my clouds. It did kind of like a little double top. It went up, came down, went up. It couldn't sustain, and it just came down. So, and it was a big psych level too, which is 1,000, right? So it could have gone to 1,005. It's going by fives. Costco, something like Costco usually goes by fives for the most part. It moves really big intraday. I mean, this thing moves um, right here. On average, it moves 15 to 20. So, but the main reason why I got in on Costco was because of the fib strategy. So it's going away from the clouds. I want to see another touch, and it's also getting away from the 20 MA. I want to see a touch. We have time on ours. The MACD is really near the 0, so it could still bounce. And if it was like way below, then that means that it's pretty strong. It's pretty strong, but this is a bullish divergence in my eyes. Price went down, but the MACD is way higher than here. You see that? So that's why I'm long on it, and it usually likes to move. When it has momentum, it likes to make, a really nice move, either up or down. Here, this is kind of like garbage action, right? It likes to do that. That's why you want to be making sure what days it likes to move the best. Usually, this one I think moves really good on towards the end of the week. Um, yeah, say like Thursday, Friday, really nice moves. Wednesday, so Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, these move nice. And supposedly, this based on on historical data, tomorrow is supposed to be a good day. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Also with something that we're testing out, which is the AI astrology. So, but based just on our charts, we're going just based off pure price, pure levels. This is why I wanted to get in on it. So this is what I call the golden pocket, or well, what everybody calls the golden pocket. It's between the 618 and the 786. So anywhere here, you want to look for a bounce or a reversal to the upside. So I got in yesterday. I thought we were gonna bounce pretty nice already into today, but we went lower, which is fine. I did go negative. I am negative in my position. Not too bad. I am down 23%, which is not bad at all. And we do have time. We got September 19th. So, and no candle body close under basically 940, which is a psych level. Even though this is 939, I'm looking at it as a psych level 940. It's still pretty dang near 939.91, pretty near 940. So as long as it stays above it, I can see a bounce back up to maybe this high, which is 958, and we should go a little green. I'm trying to make 20% minimum, but it could be way bigger bounce based on how it's kind of you know been playing out. It could bounce and then stall out. So hopefully we can catch that bounce before it starts to kind of consolidate. There's the bullish divergence. I like that. So I like today's action as well. They bought it really nice. It's a nice wick. So hopefully tomorrow we go over today's highs. So I'm gonna go ahead and already mark a trigger over today's highs in case I want to trade those weeklies instead of the September 19th, which is more time. Because the weeklies are gonna be a lot cheaper. Today's high is 944.05. Let's see if I can move it a little bit lower. I'll just leave it there. I already know anyways. So that's one of the main reasons why I got in on Costco. It's really simple. Really simple. Bullish divergence. Far away from the 20. I want to see a touch in the clouds again. And the clouds are just to see if it's still bearish or bullish. I mean, this thing is still bearish overall. As you can see, we went under the clouds, we came up, tested them, and we sold off pretty significantly. So, and here as well, once we went under the clouds, it was a change of trend. We went down for quite a few days. So here you can see how it came, and then it bounced right at the support. When we went over here, it went higher. So that's bullish. Same thing here, under, bearish, came down, stayed under, just consolidated. But I mainly look at it for the smaller time frame. So now we got our levels, and let's say I was trading the weeklies. I'm just gonna focus on today's higher day for tomorrow, because I already know my next price, which is gonna be up to 958. But I know that there's gonna be a little bit of resistance at like 945. The cycle levels in the August to really put it more like in simple terms. So we go to the 3. And you'll see how these levels act on the 3. And you don't really need these fibs anymore, so you can just take them off. We know that we're in the golden pocket. Really nice action too. So we'll see on the daily overall. So we'll see bullish divergence on the small time frames as well. So price is going down, MACD is going up. I want to see a nice recovery back up to some of these lower time frame levels, like right here. 950, that's a psych level, right? or this little consolidation that I talked about on that other video, that's a consolidation area. So over 942, it gets a higher probability, in my opinion, to go higher to 945, 948, 950, right? So, but we have time, so we don't have to worry about it because it could go and consolidate there for tomorrow and then go up the next day into Friday. We'll see how it plays out. But I do like this setup for a bounce, and we're in long. So hopefully it makes sense. The reason why I'm in HIMS is because it's consolidating. I did get a trigger above, kind of like a little breakout above the consolidation area. My trigger is this one, which is 4576. 4576. And it went over today, and there was a little gap, so we filled this gap, so this gap doesn't matter to me no more. And I had 46.38 from this wick, but it doesn't really matter as much as like 45. You know that 45 was going to be a psych level, and that's exactly where it closed at, and it's having trouble at, right? So it couldn't, go past this level or the trigger, which was the beginning of the gap. Okay, I want higher than this. That way we can, hit this high, which is 47, and then we have this gap. And I don't have these levels on here, but let's go ahead and add them real quick. This gap starts at 47.80. Okay, and it closes at 48.33. There we go. So I'm looking for these gaps to get filled in on hands. And I have until October 17th. I'm in the $50 calls. I like today's action. It had a hammer on August 20th. Had a double bottom. I think CJ mentioned it. Double bottom. Nice action consolidation. I want to see a break to the upside. It could be a bear flag, but here's the 200, and the MACD is kind of losing momentum to the downside. So I like the setup. Like the double bottom. I like how it gave me the trigger today. It was already showing some strength before it hit the trigger. So we'll see if these gaps up here get filled. And this other gap right here starts right here, which is 48.98. And it closes at 40, oh no, actually closes at 49.98. Or am I tripping? Let's see. 49.98, and it's a high of 48.98. Interesting. So it's a dollar gap. Kind of tripped me out a little bit. But yeah, I want these gaps. That's also near the 20 MA, so it's away from what they call home base, which is the 20. Also, the gaps are, or sorry, the clouds are up here. So it looks good. I like it. I like it. But this does like to consolidate a lot. Like right here, consolidated for 22 days. From here to here, 25 days actually. So before you started seeing like actually movement right here, consolidated for 1, 2, 3, 4 days. On the fourth day, broke above the top of the range, and then it started going up, and then it went up for like 3 days. This one, it was a little mini gap up and go, and then it sold it off, and that's a bearish candle, and then as you can see it reverse down all the way down to here. And the reason why we're in as well is because healthcare is showing some strength right now, like Eli Lilly, UMH, etc. So that's why I like it. Double bottom, 20 MAs there. It's got some gaps. Gave me the trigger above the range. This is another range. So I trade ranges a lot. So there you go. I think it also broke last week's high. Yeah. So last week was a hammer. And today, and so far this week is a doji. So I want us to go push up here to this consolidation area on the weekly, like this. See all the consolidation there? So we could see hymns, all the way to 52. I mean, we got till October, So we're chilling. But it's over. It went over last week's highs over at the hammer. That's bullish. That's continuation for me. You know, on the daily, it broke above it. It needs to really stay above this level, which is the trigger 45.76. So that's why I'm in HEMS. MACD got a lot of time. QBTS. So some tickers today, like IUNQ, you want to always look at the overall sector. So IUNQ had a hammer on the 20th, consolidated, and then had a really nice move. This was the day to get in on it, which was yesterday, and then today was continuation to the upside. Right, it's bullish. It retraced 50% of this nice bullish engulfing candle, or I mean, it's just a bullish candle. You know, you can see how it's pretty solid. It's solid. Doesn't have a lot of big wicks, and it's back inside the cloud. So it held the daily cloud, went up. MACD's curling off the 200. So you know, it's got those setups at the bottom of the range. You know, you can say this is one range. You know, so really nice range, really nice range. And on this one, I didn't trade this one because this one's already kind of going. So I'm looking for the laggers like ARQQ. I'm not in ARQQ. I didn't want to be too much into these because I'm already in the RGTI weeklies and September's 19s, and I got QBTS weeklies. So I don't want to be over leveraged on the same type of sector. Some of these do move, you know, different. Like ARQQ likes to move after IONQ, QUBT, QBTS move, you know. So RGTI, this one was showing some strength. So you know, usually one of the main reasons why I got in on this one was because on Wednesdays, RGTI likes to move crazy, and we've hit 1,000% 2 Wednesdays before, kind of like in a row. So same thing though, support in at the range, bottom of the range, touch my clouds. MACD's at the zero curling, broke this trigger for long. I was in, I think, already before on the swing. I did day trade the weeklies RGTIs, and I got back in, but with time and on some Lotto 16.5. So I'm targeting this high right here, which is 1691. Right. The trigger was this 15.03. And see how it looks like it's breaking out? So it wants to go up. I'll be happy if it goes like 50%. I mean, the 50% of this range is basically, let's see here. Yeah, there's a lot of resistance up there. So it's at 16, and you can also do everything kind of correlates. See this consolidation 50. Let's see what this level is near on the fibs, because now we have this high and we have this low down here, and you don't have to be precise, you can just eyeball it, but for education purposes I'll do it precisely. 1382, and the high was 1816. Okay, so that's 50%, so that's pretty damn near that 50% consolidation that I just kind of did it with just by looking at it. But you could see 1650. This should be your main target area right there. That's your main target. So you can go ahead and add those levels there. There you go. And you can get levels off the bodies, but I mainly like to look at the wicks. So we're gonna go ahead and just delete this fibs. We got our area of profit taking. So they're pretty hot right now, and they like to move. This one, RGTI, likes to move on Wednesdays. So right here, this was a Monday, Tuesday. It didn't really quite move on Wednesday. Let's see this one. This one it did. Wednesday, really nice move. This one, see this? This is a Wednesday, really nice move. Wednesday, really nice move. You see that? A lot of Wednesdays. This is a Thursday. Wednesday it was the down, but Thursday went up. So this one's like towards the end of the week, and tomorrow is Wednesday. So look at this Wednesday. Nice green candle. So Wednesdays. Wednesday. Look at this other Wednesday. Nice green candle. So quite a bit of few Wednesdays. Tuesday, Thursday. So it's like Wednesday, Thursday. The point is that it moves towards like the second half of the week. So pretty simple. I mean, I don't even have to put levels here, but if I were to look for like a down, like for puts, it would be under this level, which is 1382. 1382. So really simple. QBTS. Actually hasn't even given us the trigger. So I have the trigger here, which is 1562. I don't have it but I do have the trigger already on a different chart. So there it is, 1562. So you could trade the weeklies tomorrow. Can nobody close on a 3 minute? And it should go to this PT or get near that. Right, that's the most recent high from this low. You can go off like that, and I'll show you what I mean by that. From how I got my SPY levels for today. So this one's 1660. All right. Sorry, I was doing something real quick. Okay, so that's the 20 MA. I really want us to go to 20 MA. We're inside of a cloud. Usually means not to trade it because it could be sideways. I mean, it has been right, but it's making higher lows. So we want this trigger to get hit so we can make some money on that premium. Once this triggers hit, there's usually a premium spike on the weeklies. So and it is at the bottom of the range too. You see all these trades, you know, they all kind of got something similar. So MACD, showing slowing momentum to the downside, so it wants to pick up. It's at the bottom of a range, etc. We got time. Well, actually, let's see which ones on
You
these. No,
see,
these are weeklies.
you see, that's why I was surprised you got into this one because it hadn't even triggered the long
Yeah,
yet for real.
yeah, because it's a
That's why I was
laggard.
surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, okay. That's so you just jumped the gun because the real trigger for me was where you have your line at.
1562.
Yeah,
Yeah,
1562. Remember, I told you I was like, because if it can break that trigger, man, we have a gap to we have
yeah,
a range to fill,
yeah. We can go on a dollar, and these are cheap
Yeah,
amounts.
16.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I mean, we're already in just in case.
Yeah,
These
I'm in
weeklies
too. I'm
are
in
really
with you.
good. They like to move early morning, so you got to be quick with these, um, or you can get a lot of time. But I do like the setup. It's in the big range at the
Yeah, the
top,
chart looks nice. Yeah.
and they're all hot right now. So I didn't just take it just because it's a lager. I took it because a lot of them are moving right. IUNQ nice strength, RGTI good strength today. QUBT. This one's the I think the one that has the least amount of strength. I mean, it did have strength before right here, and then it pulled back. So you could enter here on the line. I think that looks like 50%. It is 50%. So it could go up, go to the top of this cloud. You can target these levels right here. I mean, it's still in a consolidation though. My trigger would be above this high, so like this high right there. To be honest, because you can still get some money out of it because it could go up here on this wick.
You see, that looks like a double bottom too on this chart.
Yeah, yeah, yep, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like it had strength a few days ago, last on Friday. So I mean, Friday was pretty good for I think the whole market. I think right. So, but yeah, double
Yeah.
bottom hammer here of the clouds holding MACD is looking really good for me on the daily. Looks good. I'm not in it yet, but I just want to go to the ones that look like they're ready. Like this one could be a green day tomorrow, and then like maybe Thursday goes or Friday. But our GTI is already moving. QBTS, it looks like it's right there, like at the open tomorrow. So
You see,
we're
we gotta catch that Nvidia downside, man. Because if you look at the chart on Nvidia, it looks like a double top.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna look into a little bit. I'm just going over my trades that I have for
Oh,
today.
okay, okay,
So
okay.
yeah. So if you were to, if this is the absolute bottom for right now, I mean you're looking all the way here to $18, $20, which is pretty good gains. I mean we have weeklies though, so we're not looking for that high. Now if you're getting like, if you were looking at that those PTs, you definitely want to get a lot of time on these because these like to consolidate for a few days. So we'll see.
So you think in in QBTS we can actually get the 1610 by the end of the week?
Six.
Or no, yeah,
I'm
this
looking
no
at
1660, 1660 actually.
1660. Yeah, like it could happen tomorrow. I mean, if you look at it, how it moves, certain days. Where is it right here? Right. This day it moved. Let's see here. This day it moved $1.30. So let's say tomorrow it breaks out. We're gonna surpass that theoretically. I mean, we don't know that yet, right? Because Sunday, like today, like this day right here, only moved 50 cents, right? I mean, it's still good though. We should still make money because we're in the 15.5s. I'm in the 15.5s weekly, so
Yeah, me
we're
too.
gonna be in the money.
I got in at 35 average.
And we're gonna take advantage of that morning volatility. So if we're already breaking 1550 early morning, we're gonna be green tomorrow. Early morning, we're gonna be green. You know,
Depending on how Nvidia goes, because Nvidia can affect the whole market. I think Nvidia goes down to
but
the
it's
downside, but we'll
earnings
see.
is after hours. So Nvidia, I mean, Nvidia could just stay. It's not gonna affect the market until
Oh,
after.
Nvidia's after hours, or I
Yeah,
thought it was pre-market.
no, it's after. It's after.
Oh, oh wow. Okay.
Yep. So hopefully it makes sense on how I got my levels. Any questions on that?
Did you already go over hymns with them or not yet?
Yeah, I did. I'll
Okay,
post it
okay.
on. I'm recording right now, so I'll post it after. It's recording the audio this time.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, but look at this setup, guys. The MACD's, kind of curling. Well, it is already curling and across, but looks like a little bit of a bullish divergence. So small, very small. You probably be able to see it on the smaller time frames. But I like
Looking
this.
at Mara.
Yeah, I like this setup. Uh, but with a lot of time, kind of like Riot. I mean, we took Riot because normally Riot likes to move before Mara for the most part. I think I could be wrong, but either way, we're making money on Riot, and we got till January. So this one, I'm not worried about it. We already made money. It's already a green trade. We got runners on it. Same thing with Win. Oop, wrong ticker. Win. I got out a win on this day for a like 20% loss, but then I got in on this day right here because it recovered and it had a little bit of strength and I got in again. Let's see when I actually got in. Let's go look at my trades. I do have two runners on this one actually. Yeah, I got two runners. When I got back in, oh, actually it was on this day. Okay, so I got out on this day. Yeah, okay, so I got out on this day because it went under this doji. Okay, yeah, I'm looking here. I got back in on the 22nd, so which was Thursday, and then sorry, which was Friday, and obviously we started making money Monday, and today it went higher. So, but this is why I always say know where your risk is, and if it still looks good, get back in. So the reason why I got out, right? We got in because it was showing some strength this day. So we got in. The next day, it kind of doesn't do anything. When I first got in, I got in on. Let's see here. Okay, buy win 120s. on the 20th. So interesting. So I figured this was the, oh, I got in like at the high and then it pulled back. It sold off. Okay, yeah, yeah, because I got in kind of early. Looks like. But anyways, the time decay was like, I don't like it. It could go down to the bottom of the range. There is, the MACD's down here. You could say it's a bearish divergence. So I was being cautious. I know my risk. I didn't want to. You never know, right? So it was already breaking this doji. That means it wants to go to this PT for the most part. That's how it usually plays out. Because a doji is like it doesn't know where it wants to go until the next day. So I literally had a trigger here for downside to cut it. And I was like, you know what? I'm down 20%. I'm just going to cut it. I'm going to give it another day or let's see if it shows strength. So I hold for this day. Time passes. It's selling off more. It went under. I'm like, you know what? Maybe tomorrow it's going to go lower. So I'd rather just not get in or not stay in and cut it. So then, the next day, Friday, which is good for the whole market. So I get back in and I'm like, you know what? I actually trust this one. It's not just because the whole market is moving. Because, we were in RCL, right? We were in RCL, which is travel, right? Look at RCL. That thing's, we got RCL here, like absolute bottom area, right? And it was one of the laggers. Now look at it, right? It's moving really nice. I think they're up 200+% now if you were still holding. RCL. Ripping, LUV, same thing. We got at the bottom. We got him on this day actually. And I got out here on this. And look, it went up a little bit more, came down to retest that area, and it went up higher. So it could still go higher. It wants to go to this gap. It wants to do what RCL did because RCL had a gap. This gap right here. Like that. It filled it today. So LUV, I'm just kind of doing it real quick. So that's the gap, and you can do fibs on it from this high. I'm not doing it from this. I'm gonna just do it from here. Okay, and because that's the closest one. I mean, you could do it, but it's not gonna make much of a difference. See, it's not making much of a difference. So, and that's pretty near that gap. So, and look at this. This is going inside the cloud. It could reject there and come back down. This is 50% bounce already. So, it went up above the 20 MA here. Came down, retested hammer of consolidation, went up. MACD was showing bullish divergence. So you see, all these have the same setup. It was at the bottom of a range. There was a lot of support down there. This is more like the range. So it's gonna have trouble for sure here at 35 cycle level. But I usually get my levels off the wicks, and then I kind of do the fibs. So SPY. So I'm gonna go over SPY. Last thing I do, how I got my levels for the PTs today, and I'll show you why I did it like that, because there was some buy volume. So automatically I have my levels here right off the daily. So this high is 64650. That's an all-time high, right? And I have this level, which was yesterday's high, which is 64529. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm messaging because I gotta go to the gym and meeting up with somebody there. Let's see here. And we got our low for today. Today is the low, not this. I'll show you why I used the low of today, because that marked an important low. But today's low was 64157. So now we got our level. So now we can do our fibs, right? Or getting them from the wicks, right? from the past 2 days. So I go to the 3 minute because I trade off the 3 and the 5. So I'm doing fib retracements right now. Fib retracement. Okay, so I'm doing it from this high, which is 50, to today's low, which is 641.57. Okay, y'all see. So I'm only gonna mark the um the 786, or I mean the golden pocket area. This is the golden pocket. Like I said, this is like where most reversals happen. So I knew that we were already surpassing this, so I figured we would go here to 645.50 area. So we're just gonna go ahead and mark it, right? Okay, now I got my first 786. And now I want to do it from yesterday's highs, which was here, 29, 645, 29 to today's low, 50, 641.57. So you see these, this red, that's a 786, right? So so the golden pocket earlier was like this. You see how the 618 is down here? So this was basically the 618 on the other one. So once we went over this 786, then I went to look for the next 786, right? That's why I did it from two different dates to see where it could have resistance at. And it's also a psych level 645 plus 50 cents, which usually has been occurring a lot. It's been going like 50 cents kind of around big key levels or psych levels. So hopefully that makes sense. So this range of resistance. So we got this one right here. That's a very big level. And then from that level. So like that. So from this level to here. So you see how I said earlier, this is the resistance. And it did have trouble at first right here at the first 786. You see how it had trouble here, reversed. And this is when I said, oh man, I'm in the put. It's under the 20. It could go down to the clouds on the smaller time frames. It's under here, the 3, but it wasn't under the 5. It bounced off the 5, so I should have got off the 3 and gone to the 5, and then cut my put at 30% or whatever, because it still reclaimed it. So once it reclaimed this is also the breakout area before you had this crazy pop, this little consolidation here, and I was walking you through that on the live, like as it was happening. Literally, I said, well, this is the breakout right here, right? That's the breakout consolidation. It could be going to do a retest, and exactly that's what it did. So it went under, kind of faked out shorts, and maybe stopped out longs, and then it reclaimed the 20, and it went back up to today's highs, and it surpassed it, and it went to the next one. And I said it's gonna go probably to this one. So, and it did. So that's simple. In this case, I didn't do a fib extension, but I can do a fib extension. Or I could have actually done that today as well. So this is like A, B, and then like a C extension, but you see how it's too wonky? It doesn't look as good, but you could still test it out. You know, it has to make sense, you know. So yeah, I had trouble here, so you knew that it was gonna hit that PT and have a little bit of reject, which it did. So you see how, but it's too wonky. I mean, you could have done it from here. It just overextended. You see how it's like 1.618. So it could still work, but I wouldn't use it in this case. The other day that I used it was, what day was it? Was it on let's see here. Was it this day? Monday. Let's go see. No. Was it Monday? Or was it this day? What day was this? Let's go see. I think it was that day. This day, which was a Wednesday. Yeah, I think it was Wednesday last week. Yeah, because it had a really prominent, like, you see that A, B down, and then a C up here. Yeah. Yeah, I remember now. Okay, yeah, perfect. So the reason why I used the fib extension was obviously you can see how it came down V shape and then it pulled back. It has to look more like a V shape if it makes any sense. So here, here, and there you go. So it went to the 1. You see how it's right at the 1? That's what I want. So I added that, which is 6.8. Basically, if I did it to the penny, it should come out as 638.68. So that's the fib extension, and then I did the regular fib from the day's high, which was right here from that low. See this? The 786. So I used the 786 and the 1, and which is these two lines. So I knew that it was gonna have a lot of trouble here. So it has to have a prominent like really vivid V bounce like that to do a fib extension. And it held here too, so that's what I'm saying. Like it has to have like a really nice up and down. It can't be like too close to each other. Like right here, like this one wouldn't be too good, or like today you see it wasn't too good. It was too close of a move. Like here, here, and here, way too close. It was way more sideways. See that? It was more sideways. So, but for the most part, you always want to always do just a regular fib retracement. So you knew that you should have been taking profits here anyways at 638. That's an all good. Close to a psych level. It could wake up there and then reverse quick. Which happens more often than not. So like this one, you could have done it a really good fib because it has a nice V shape to the bottom. You see that? So you could have done a fib extension to the downside. Like so. And then your PT should have been 1 for that day, which it was. This is 1, and it went there pretty much right here. It pretty much went right there at the end of the day. So it came down, bounced, and then it ended up going here. And it held a 20 on the 3, so it was still bearish. You could have done it on the 5 as well. So it just rode the 20 on the 5 all day long. So like that day, but you see the V though? That's when you want to do the fib extension. See, like this one, it didn't really quite work out. I mean, I guess it did. Let's see, actually. It should. Oh, wrong one. Okay, let's do it real quick. This one still, look, it went to 1, so it still worked. But you see how it has like a really vivid V? Y'all see that? Hopefully it makes sense. And it still worked because this low didn't break the day's low. And it went, look, to 1 towards the end of the day. Actually, that was the next day, but it got really close and it rejected, so it still played on to the next day. So like for this one, you could have done it to the downside. I don't think it worked out though. This one did not work out. No, it didn't. So it didn't go to 1. So, and that will happen, This was really sideways action, so. For 1, 2, 3, 4, on the 5th day, it broke to the downside. See that? Came down, came up to retest, and just rolled down, and then we went lower. And this was the day I told y'all to watch these levels on the daily for the downside. I wasn't on here, but I did say watch 642 34 34, and that's a big level, and we're gonna put it to the test. So right there, let's say none of this has happened. So I got this from the wick. Yeah, look, 64234. That was my first one, and then the next one was right here. So it was like a little bit of little small range of support. This wick is a 64218, right on the money. Okay, and then I said, hey, at any given point, we go under these, short the market. I literally said this was on a Tuesday. Yep, see Tuesday. I wasn't here on that Tuesday. All right. So we're consolidating. Tuesday comes along. We break a little bit under, and then we go up, and then we go under again. You see that how perfect that is? That range. You should have got like one DTE puts, or if you want to be risky with zero DTEs, what does it do? It sells off all the way down, and then it continues into this, and this is when I called calls. I said, hey, get calls here. One of the main reasons is because if I were to do a fib, it's gonna show you a fib area where it bounces, and also remember this is for another video because I gotta go pretty soon. If I'll show you real quick why. See this gap? I already have it. So on this Wednesday, I figured, hey, Qs are what makes up most of the market, right? Which is tech. The tech is like the number one thing right now, right? Or it has been for a while. So we went to the gap. Normally, when you hit a gap, it bounces, or when it goes 50% of the bounces. In this case, it had gone really heavy for 2 days. I figured, hey, you know what? Let's get some calls. It starts working in our favor pretty immediately, and this day the volume worked out perfectly. So at the bottom, so let's go see that day real quick. Right here. So this is the 3-minute. You see this volume right here, right here, bullish divergence. You'll see that bullish divergence volume, and then nothing but consistent buyers. What do? We have a really nice bounce all the way back almost to the day highs. So that worked out perfectly. We made pretty good money on it. We didn't hold all the way, but we made really good money on these. So they went like 200-300%. So, but in this case, the volume did play out. I mean, I was already looking at pure levels, like I normally say sometimes. Just look at the levels. Volume is gonna go after that, or sometimes right before. Like today, right? There was a lot of there was a bearish divergence today. This is a bearish divergence. It got invalidated once we broke out, right? This consolidation. Remember, I just talked about that consolidation where we came down to retest. And look at this buyers. There was some nice sellers, right? Bearish divergence, but we were over the zero. Now, if we would have stayed on the zero, we probably could have gone lower. But either way, that's why I usually practice, or I always say, man, just trim it because you can get back at a better entry, right? Let's say I would have cut it at 30% and then just kept going up. Well, I saved myself more money instead of selling it for 50 plus negative, which is what actually ended up happening. I actually ended up having a pretty decent loss on that, but I went long after, and it worked out for me. I made back my money and more of what I had lost, so it worked out perfectly because I had those PTs, and it that premium spike, it was nice. It was really nice. So, and that buy volume just went up really quick. So these buy volume, I was like, it's too risky, downside. But I did get in because, like I said, I'm trading off the levels. We went back inside that, and we went under the MACD. Sorry, the 20 MA on the 30. So, but I literally could have cut it for but I just held, which shows us well that holding does not work all the time, or for me at least most of the time. I just want to take my profits. I take them. I can hit consistently 20 to 50 depending on the premiums. If you study the premiums, now people say it's hard, but it's doable. We do it live, day in and day out, live. So, well,